Well, I've got some very exciting news for you. Let's go. A very warm welcome to you, my friend, wherever you may be. I'm just going to get straight to the point so you don't have to watch till the end. You asked, and there's been so much demand, I'm pleased to announce that Mode, the Brian Griffin photographic book, is now in production. That's right, we are releasing a second pressing following tremendous demand. So that's it. If you're interested, you can click on the link in the description below or go to vaughngeorge.com where you can find all the information and place your pre-order now. And if you're interested to know the details, carry on watching. So this is not a decision I made easily. It's not a decision that came quickly. It's something that took a lot of thought, contemplation, and discussion. But it's going ahead now, and I'm very happy about that. If you go backwards to around about this time last year, you will know that we were busy releasing the first edition of the photographic book Mode. Now, as you know, this idea started when Brian and I were sitting in his kitchen one day at his kitchen table just drinking tea, and I just looked at him and I said, Brian, why have you never released a photographic, a Depeche Mode photographic book regarding all your work, a book with all your stuff, in one place? And what, if you think of it now, it seems like a no-brainer, but at the time, he'd never done it. But anyway, that was the inspiration. We started the crowdfunder on Kickstarter. You guys got involved. We raised the funds. We pressed the book. And all the stock sold out within 6 weeks. It was Brian's, as he said, it was his most commercially successful book based on the fact that it sold so quickly in such a short space of time. And I think he was very surprised by it. I wasn't actually, because I think I understand, Depeche Mode fans and what they want. And, I just think I was very excited about it. And so I was kind of like I was kind of like driving the sales and the logistics of it and stuff. And whereas Brian, he was the artist, of course. But after we sold the last copies, that's when people really woke up to the fact that, they'd missed out, and people were emailing me. I've received dozens of emails from people saying, oh, please, if there is a second pressing, let me know. Are you going to release a second pressing? Now, the idea was never to do a second pressing. Brian and I think, if you just watch that video I published a few months back after Brian's passing, this video, which was my story, you will know in that video I spoke very fondly about how we put this book together, but it was a very, very stressful time. And I think when we got out of it, it was just like we both agreed, never again. Never again is what you swore the time before. We just said never again because it was so much hard work. But then once the dust had settled, of course, I left England and I've now moved to Estonia. Brian and I started talking sort of late last year and early this year. We started talking about the possibility of doing a second pressing. And this really, if anyone knows Brian as well as I do, you will know that he was unashamedly happy to, make money and to sell products and to, Brian was all about his work. His work was his first love, and and I think this is why we got on so well, because I understood that and I loved his work. And Brian was very much about getting out there, getting his products out there, and making money and making business in what he did, and rightfully so. He was an absolute genius at what he did. So when we looked at all the demand, we decided that, just between him and I, that we would look into the possibility of a second pressing. So we were starting to talk about it. And what's heartbreaking was he was meant to come to Estonia to visit me around about February. To cut a long story short, I went on tour in January early this year with Mesh, and I'd kept in touch with Brian. Obviously, we'd speak a few times a week. And I said to him that, once I'd finished my shows with Mesh, I would come to London and, we'd meet and we'd talk about this. And he was well up for it. And of course, the last time I saw Brian was at one of his London exhibitions. I believe it was it the 22nd or the 21st of January? And then that was the last time I saw him, and I never saw him again. But I remember when I saw him at that exhibition, I still said, okay, I'll see you on Monday. This was obviously on the Wednesday or something. So, and that day never came. And the sad thing was, I was going to see him on the Monday, and we were going to discuss this second pressing and all that. And so the rest is history. We know what happened. And so Brian is not here to make the decision, and so I was left, as I said, when Brian passed away, it was like the carpet, it's like someone pulled the rug out from under me. It's taken me a long time to sort of get over it. And so I did sort of speak to members of my inner circle, friends, mutual friends of Brian and mine. And, and I just said, look, does this feel right if we do this, And everyone that I, sort of confided in, they all unanimously agreed. They said, absolutely, Brian was all about his work. He'd be so up for it. And indeed, we were planning it. So anyway, so I put the plans into place, and I'm happy to say the second pressing of Mode is now in production, and your pre-orders can now be taken. So just to ensure that, in the sake of full transparency, as I try to do everything to the best of my abilities, the first book was crowdfunded, and we then sold them, slightly cheaper to the people who, obviously the people who crowdfunded it got it at a special rate. The stock was delivered on the 1st of September last year, and we had sold everything out within 6 weeks. And this is why Brian and I decided, there is tremendous demand for this. I still frequently receive emails from people saying, will this ever happen again? And the whole idea with doing a second pressing, Brian and I were never going to announce it. We were going to we knew there was a demand, so we were going to just put the systems in place and then announce it and surprise everyone. But I'm pleased to be able to do that now, and we're not going to kickstart this. The way we're going to fund this is I'm going to put all the money in myself. I'm taking all the risk in this. It's a calculated risk, but I believe that there is enough demand, so hopefully I won't run into trouble doing that. But I know there's demand. I know that people want it. And it's worth mentioning that Brian's share of the profits will go on to his estate. So the systems are now in place to do that. And Brian always used to talk about money for the grandchildren. So when you purchase one of these books, it's exactly the same process as it was last time. Same design team, it's the same team, same high quality book. Any of you who have bought it will know how high quality this is. I just wanted to make it sort of available again because there is demand. It's available at vaughngeorge.com. All the information is there. If you've got any questions, you can send me an email. But that's it, really. I just wanted to make this video and just share the news with you, and be completely transparent without boring you with all the details. So it's always a fine line to tread sometimes. But thank you as always. I really appreciate your support, to those of you who've been here from the beginning, and I really appreciate all your love. I'll see you on the next video or the next event. Let's celebrate Mode V2. Pre-orders now being taken. Lots of love, my friends, and I'll see you on the next video. Adios.